Welcome back to more Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Attila the Hun, The Fall of Rome on hard difficulty.
As far as Attila was concerned, Honoria was waiting with open arms in Rome. The very next year, partially recovered from his losses, Attila turned his attention to Italy. The Huns crossed the Alps and moved down the Italian peninsula, launching another great invasion that terrorized the inhabitants of the Western Roman Empire. He meant to take Rome and crown himself emperor. This was not the Rome of Caesar, mind you, but a withering Rome, beaten from earthquakes and barbarian wars. And this time, there was no General Aetius to hold off the Huns' savagery.
Okay, so this mission, like many other missions in this game, have not been redesigned from the default version, at least in terms of the map. So you might be thinking, incorrectly I might add, that, oh, I can use the same tactics, same builds, same strategy. You would be very, very wrong in that. And I learned this the hard way in my live stream, where I ended up losing this mission because the enemy, not because the enemy is able to defeat me militarily. That's a joke to think the AI can even defeat you in most campaign missions from a military perspective, because it really can't unless it just gets, unless its early game advantage is such over you as a player that it's able to abuse you and abuse that and rush you. But it basically boils down for you as a player this: build fucking castles, you will win. You will beat back 90% of assaults. The only ones that stand in contrast to that are assaults involving trebuchets. Not even rams, though rams can be a problem, but trebuchets. Everything else, any unit in the game, any army that the AI can throw against you, easily beaten aside by the player. It's not exactly the greatest gameplay in the world, and instead of redesigning that, instead of making that, I don't know, more interesting so that the player isn't pushed in a situation where it's like, oh, I have to build castles to hold off the inevitable hordes of the enemy because I don't have enough resources to fight them, and what's the point really? Instead of doing that, they've doubled down on it. They've doubled down on the idea that you as a player need to build castles. 2 castles, 3 castles, you can hold back any horde of enemies. Even in the previous mission where you're dealing with vast hordes of enemies, 2 or 3 castles, maybe 4, can hold back any army that they throw against you, with the exception of the trebuchets. But guess what? You're a cavalry force. Get some cavalry, you'll hold them off. That's just the way it goes. Not particularly the greatest gameplay in the world, though. I'm gonna get some food. And it can be quite a frustrating experience to deal with. And honestly, boring as well. It's not really exciting having to deal with this. So, because the missions look the same, have the same, have the same overall, I guess you could say, design, you might think, oh, I approach it as I would by default. That's something I learned the hard way, does not fucking work. I'm gonna need food, I'm gonna need farms, I'm gonna need everything. So, instead of making things gentler, they doubled down on that difficulty. So in this particular case, they made it so that the wonders built by the AI are going to be built considerably faster. Now, what that really translates into is that as opposed to attacking Milan early on, which is what you would want to do in the default game, the reason is Milan is the most aggressive early on of all of these factions, so eliminating them gets rid of a significant amount of pressure on you as a player. And that's the reason you want to take out Milan. You can get quite a bit more food than that. And set up more farms. I'll need a vast and powerful army. So monastery, archer range, stables, you name it. I'm also gonna need chemistry to really deal with the situation. Now, the problem is not Pavium, Milanum, Aquila, it's Verona. The reason is Verona is right here, give or take, and they're gonna build a wonder. And that wonder can cost you the game, quite frankly. Not exactly the greatest thing. It's like, oh, you have to fight across the map within a particular time limit, and you have to use a particular strategy to get through, or you're gonna lose. You're gonna get the mill as well. But if that's what the game wants, that's what I'm gonna give it. I just feel that they could have done so much more with the definitive edition, and they chose deliberately not to. No, I get the online multiplayer component about this game. I understand the community exists in that space, fair enough, but I don't see that as an excuse to not do anything with the campaign. And it does feel, at least based on the cinematics, that there was a certain laziness involved here. In terms of the campaigns, because a lot of them do basically play the same way. Now, Milan is going to throw trebuchets against me. Now, I don't have to worry too much about Patavium. I can take my time, build up, and that's what I'm going to do. I need to build the force to deal with the overall situation. And build... Alright, get chemistry. Okay. Well, obviously I traded perhaps badly. You know what? Not the boar. That's a lot of food, basically. And enable farm reseeding. There's quite a few boars here, you might want to get them. Nah, that's not a good idea. So I'm gonna get some castles here. I'm gonna get the force to set everything up. And I need food. I need elite Tarkans. And I'll need quite formidable defenses as well. Gonna get more workers. I want to mine all of that gold. I'm gonna set up another mining camp, just improve the overall situation. And I also will need a blacksmith to set things up, get conscription, and then eventually get those guys. The wonders are gonna take a bit to fully build up. They should be able to handle that boar. Yeah, that's a joke. The idea that they're gonna be able to do anything is a pretty big fucking joke. Gonna get bracer, cavalry armor, and eventually attack. What's going on here? Oh, trebuchet, huh? Now, I don't quite know how atheism works, by the way. Who knows, maybe I actually do need to take Milan, but just do a bit of better build up, eh? Alright. There's Attila. Gonna take out this castle. They won't build a second. Well, they have a second, but they won't build up to have two castles at the same time, as long as they have one. So yeah, Milan is a piece of crap that you need to deal with. Simple as that.
Захар барилгачин амар мэдүү барилгачин амар байна уу
Болгоосноо. Тийм үү? Барилгачин. Сургаасоос.
Тийм. Прайден даш.
Бэлэн байна. За. Барилгачин. Амар байна ой. Болгоосноо. Амар барилгачин. Барилгачин. Тийм үү?
Тийм үү? Анчин.
Тийм үү?
Захир. Барилгачин. Тийм үү? Барилгачин.
Okay, gonna need to destroy the Milanese
Соёл
town center. I'm not gonna worry too much about their entire base. That would require more resources than I'm willing to put into this fight.
барилгачин.
Амар миндүү.
But they do have some stables and they do have a
Захир. Анчин.
bit more. So that's destroyed. Group 3. Group 2. And that's basically gonna be my army.
Бэлэн байна. Засварчин. Захир. Барилгачин.
Now the reason I'm not attacking purple just yet is because I am not particularly eager to get involved into that fight with the army with the army size that I currently have available to me.
Бэлэн байна.
But I will. Just need a couple more things to make it happen. Bigger army, that kind of stuff.
Соёл
So
болгоо.
I can deal with the various things. Let's sell some stone actually. Right.
Амар байна.
Here's the thing. Defending your base is such a joke that you as a player don't really take building properly or aggressively as you can seriously. There's no reason to, that's the problem. There's no reason to play, shall we say, well in a lot of situations because what's the point, right? Well, in this scenario there is. And it's just
Тийм үү?
jarring difficulty, I guess you could call it.
Барилгачин. Амар миндүү.
Бэлэн байна.
Alright, gonna get some farms with those guys. So what I've done here is I've set up. Yep, there's the queue. Gonna save over there.
Тийм.
Well, since I've gone through all this effort to deal with Milan, which, as I've said, is the most aggressive faction here, might as well finish the job, right? Gotta be careful though about
Барилгачин.
the situation. Don't want to go too far. Just want to deal with that.
Тийм үү?
Захир. Тийм үү? Барилгачин.
Амар миндүү. Барилгачин. Тийм үү? Барилгачин. Амар миндүү. Барилгачин.
Бэлэн байна.
Alright, not enough wood, huh? What a joke. Not to worry, we will deal with them.
Захир. За. Барилгачин.
Right, that castle is basically all that they have left. well, just the ability to also build a bunch of cavalry units, but that's not really a worry too much. Now I'm not gonna rush to deal with atheism, because I think it only applies to oh, Orange has fucking come. Oh, how about that? Verona. Fucking frustrating bitch. I'm not joking on that. Verona is a bloody nightmare. The Franks have the highest win rate in multiplayer. Why? They have very powerful units and they have good economic bonuses as well. That's why. Let's see here.
Тиймээ.
What the
Зүйтэй. Барилгачин.
Hey, we can deal with that.
Захир. Барилгачин.
Wait, they have another. Ah, okay. What? Oh, we need the fucking monks. Okay, we can deal with that too. Okay. That's effectively Milan gone. So fun. Gonna send a whole bunch of units to deal with them. All right. The biggest advantage I guess I have as the Huns is in terms of trash units is just building a whole bunch of okay, that's over basically. Over and done with. Just stables and barracks. Okay, 4. Gonna get a whole bunch of halberdiers. What is gonna put here?
Тийм үү. Барилгачин.
Бэлэн байна. Модчин. За. Захир тийм ээ. Барилгачин.
Барилгачин.
Gonna get them over there.
Зүйтэй. Модчин.
Now, pretty certain that. All right. So this is where the real fun begins. Beating purple, not so much of a problem, honestly. Beating orange, pretty big problem. Now you don't need to beat to go through purple's base to get to orange. So what I'm going to do here is just completely wreck the wonder and then move the fuck on. That's gonna be my goal over here at the very least. They do have a lot of crossbows. I'll match them with my horse archers and my hussars. Just keep in mind that I am very much at the food limit. Sure, attacking across that bridge is not the pleasant experience, but that's not really a problem. We deal with these guys. Now red will attack, as I will expect. Alright. Okay. I mean, if the game wants me to treat this seriously, I'll fucking treat it seriously. Alright, we're getting another wonder being built by Quila. Not too big of an issue though. Are we, what? I just slaughtered them though. Milan, everyone's building fucking wonders. What the fuck is up with that? Either way, it doesn't matter. Just destroy that particular piece of crap. Alright, just take out the wonder and then we have to rush. My army is made up of horse archers, halberdiers, and hussars. Alright, Milanum has resigned. I'm just gonna save here and see what if I can deal with the situation. We're really losing too much. Take down the guard tower, well, the keep really. Alright, there is a castle over here on the north side. I aim to destroy it.
Амар минь дүү.
Захир болгоё. За.
Charles Sans.
Тийм ээ. Барилгачин.
Тийм үү.
Соёрхий болгоё. Амар байна уу?
Ушаал гүйцэтгэе. Идлээ гүйцэтгэе. Бэлэн идлээ гүйцэтгэе. Тийм үү. Урагшаа давшаа.
Сургаал сонс. Тийм ээ. Болгоос зүйтэй. Соёр зүйтэй. Болгоё. Амар байна уу? Би болгоё. За зүйтэй. Болгоосноо. Би болгоё. Сургаал сонс.
Бэлэн идлээ гүйцэтгэе. Идлээ гүйцэтгэе.
Амар байна уу? Зүйтэй.
Ушаал тийм үү. Гүйцэтгэе.
Okay, let's deal with Verona. The front gate is arguably the hardest way to attack this place, but what the fuck, do I care? Nah.
Бэлэн идлээ гүйцэтгэе.
My vast army will simply stop chasing that fucking thing, but...
Би болгоё. Гүйцэтгэе. Урагшаа давшаа.
So they have a bunch of cavaliers and a bunch of crossbows. Not really too worried about the crossbows though, to be honest. Purple does have town centers though. So, I need to destroy these guys. Wait, didn't I get chemistry? Yes, I didn't. My bad. Screw up on that one. Either way, it doesn't matter. Whew, that's a lot of units. I don't know if I can win that fight. But I don't need to win that fight. That's the stupid damn thing. What the? That's just stupid, really. Alright. Trebuchets will destroy the... Yeah, that's a bit too much, isn't it? I really don't want to do forward castles, but I guess I might have to. Okay. So that was the hardest part here. Never mind the fact that they're building another wonder. Trying to. Alright. I think the easiest way for me to defeat them would be probably to, and that's... Pressed a bit for time, really. So I don't really have a lot of time for this crap. Oh, damn it all.
Бэлэн айлдаан. Шаа сонсгий. Бэлэн тийм үү. Шаа гүйцэтгэе. Тийм үү.
Yeah, the army of cavaliers approaches, boys and girls. And so does my army of Tarkans.
Шаа сонсгий.
Бэлэн байна.
I don't know who thought it was a good idea to just give the AI a whole fucking load of, you know, resources so that they can spam an infinite number of units, but it's not particularly fun, is it? I get the notion. I'm gonna have to withdraw here, actually. Because I can't really hold them back. There's simply too many of them.
Тийм үү. Захир. Зүйтэй.
Okay, no more
Барилгач.
stone. That's not something I'm particularly worried about. Gold, however, is a problem.
За би болгоё.
Тийм үү.
Come on, how much bullshit are you gonna throw?
Шаа сонсгий.
It's just like at the point where I'm like, seriously?
Захир тийм ээ. Тийм болгоё. За. Амар минь дүү. Бэлэн байна.
Амар минь дүү. Тийм ээ.
Шаа сонс.
Амар минь дүү. Зүйтэй.
Бэлэн байна.
Тийм үү болгоё.
Бэлэн гүйцэтгэе. Тийм үү. Библийг гүйцэтгэе. Гүйцэтгэе. Тийм. Шаа сонс.
Захир тийм ээ.
Захир.
Тийм үү. Библийг гүйцэтгэе. Тийм. Бэлэн. Тийм үү. Гүйцэтгэе. Дагш.
Бэлэн байна.
Бэлэн. Библийг гүйцэтгэе. Шаа сонс.
Тийм үү. За. Амар минь дүү.
Амар минь дүү болгоё.
Захир тийм ээ. Би болгоё.
Бэлэн байна.
Тийм үү. За. Зүйтэй.
Бэлэн гүйцэтгэе.
Тийм үү. Амар минь дүү.
Шаа сонс. Гүйцэтгэе.
Амар минь дүү.
Okay. I'm gonna need to find gold. That's the problem. Without it, no chance. And it does get on my bloody nerves. So fine. This is what the game wants. Clearly, this is the only way we're gonna do this crap. Forward castle drop on red. Because it's the only way I'm gonna win without losing my bloody patience in this shit. That's what the game wants. That's what I'll provide. Because really, winning against an infinite stack of units when the AI doesn't have a bloody care for resources is not fun. That entire army is gone. That entire... all those... maybe the trebuchets or some of the horse archers. I don't know, it's hard to say. But yeah, it's not gonna... I mean, just look at this crap. It's like, holy cow. It's like infinite. Oh, some gold. But I know what to do. I'm not particularly pleased about having to do it, but I know exactly what I need to do to win here. Do need chemistry though. To really pull it off.
Захимээ зүйтэй.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be particularly pleased about that. Forward castles.
Бидэн байна.
Time to unleash the bullshit. No, mind you, it's a legitimate multiplayer tactic.
Зүйтэй.
Болгоё. Тимээ.
What I'm about to do.
Зүйтэй. Би болгоё.
Does not mean it's
Захир.
particularly engaging.
Би болгоё.
Now,
За.
where can I
Зүйтэй. Би болгоё.
just
Барилгачин. Амар барилгачин.
best forward castles?
Амар минь болгоё. Зүйтэй. Тимээ.
So let me check.
Тимээ. Бидэн болгоё. Тимүү.
What other options do I have over there?
Би болгоё. Амар минь тимээ. Би болгоё.
Амар минь дүү. Барилгачин. Тийм үү? За. Барилгачин.
And if not for the infinite wonders and infinite resources that these guys have available to them, this actually wouldn't be too bad of a mission, difficulty-wise. But they do have infinite resources, more or less. And that's not even the problem. No, the problem is they keep building wonders and they have an enormous supply of resources in their hands. To the point Yeah, sure, you can win in a 1v1 situation, don't get me wrong. It's just such a situation in terms of paladins. It's such a situation in terms of difficulty that your best option is to really do stuff like this. Is that good design? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Right, so all the wonders are effectively neutralized. And I'll repeat the same shit for an orange. That's all I'm gonna do. Nothing more required. Right. Now red is probably the easiest one to deal with actually, as a faction. I believe that or not. Paladins. Horse archers needed.
Speeding band, Timo Bosroja. Amorminte. Zachar. Timo, за.
Амар мэндүү. За.
Сойрхий.
Болгоосноо.
За зүйтэй.
Болгоё.
Захир. Тимэ.
Тийм үү? Амар минь дүү. Тийм ээ.
Бэлэн байна. Зүй тийм ээ.
Бэлэн. Тушаал сонслыг үүсгэе. Тийм.
More cavalry archers, paladins, and you name it.
Би
I'm gonna need to
болгоё.
set up more castles in the Norwegian base to take them out.
Тийм үү.
I mean, it's already bad enough that if you don't have trebuchets in a mission, it becomes a painful experience to take out any enemy. Okay. I think orange. I think yeah.
Бэлэн байна.
Амар минь дүү.
Right.
Амар минь дүү.
Still reasonable amount of gold left there. I'm gonna take down the wonder now. Destroy those towers there at that gate. What's Orange doing though?
За за.
I mean, he has a bunch of units, sure, but not doing anything with them.
Амар минь дүү.
Сургаал сонс. Захир. За.
Тийм үү? За за.
Тушаал сонслыг үүсгэе.
Захир би болгоё. Барилгачин. Тийм ээ.
Тийм үү.
Барилгачин.
Үүсгэе.
Бэлэн байна. Тийм үү? Би болгоё.
Бэлэн байна. Тийм үү? Зургачин.
Захир. Тийм үү?
Бэлэн байна. Амар минь дүү. Зургачин. Захир би болгоё.
Тийм үү. Үүсгэе. Тушаал сонс. Тийм. Бэлэн. Итлэг үүсгэе. Үүсгэе. Итлэг
Амар
үүсгэе.
байна болгоё.
Бэлэн байна. Амар минь дүү. Тийм ээ.
Амар минь дүү. Бэлэн байна. Барилгачин.
Тушаал сонслыг үүсгэе.
Тийм үү? Барилгачин.
Амар мэндүү.
Захир. Барилгачин. Тийм үү? Амар мэндүү. Барилгачин.
Тийм үү.
Захир. Барилгачин. Битэн бай. Барилгачин. Амар минь барилгачин.
Бэлэн шаал сонс. Мэдлэг гүйцэтгэе.
Захир барилгачин.
Тийм үү? Зүйтэй.
Тийм үү. Шаал сонс. Бэлэн сэтгэе.
Захир. Бэлэн байна. Барилгачин. Тийм үү? Би болгоё. Зүйтэй. За. Захир бэлэн байна. Барилгачин.
Тийм үү?
Амар мэндүү.
Битэн байна.
Тийм үү. Мэдлэг гүйцэтгэе. Бэлэн.
Бэлэн байна.
Амар мэндүү. Барилгачин. Захир барилгачин.
Шаал сонс. Тийм үү.
Тийм үү? Уурхачин.
Тийм үү? Хачин. Битэн байна.
Бэлэн мэдлэг гүйцэтгэе.
Тийм үү? Барилгачин. Амар мэндүү. Би барилгачин. Захир барилгачин.
Шаал сонс. Тийм үү. Гүйцэтгэе.
Амар мэндүү. Засварчин.
Бэлэн. Ийм үү. Гүйцэтгэе.
Бэлэн байна. Зүйтэй. Уур хачин.
Шаар сонс гүйцэтгэе.
Тийм үү. За. Уур хачин.
Захир сурчин.
Шаар сонс авшаар. Ийм үү. Бэлэн. Гүйцэтгэе. Шаар сонс гүйцэтгэе.
Бэлэн байна. Засварчин.
Бэлэн.
Амар мэдгүй.
Захир.
Захир мэ. Бэлэн байна.
Амар мэндүү. Барилгачин.
Тийм үү. Зүйтэй.
Ийм үү.
Тийм үү. Зүйтэй.
Шаар сонс гүйцэтгэе.
Амар нэм болгоё.
Бэлэн байна.
Ийм үү. Шаар сонс даш.
Okay, it's done.
Бэлэн. Ийм үү.
King Attila, before we pursue this wanton bloodshed any further, we request that you come personally to a meeting with Pope Leo I in Rome.
That's it. It's finished. Holy crap, that was a wonder rush if I've seen one. Everyone's got a wonder. You've got a wonder, and you've got a wonder, and you've got a wonder. Fucking frustrating, really. Alright, just sending Attila. Where is he anyway? Yeah, there we go. Just gotta use the castles, huh? It just feels, if I'm gonna give a comparison, it really feels like Age of Mythology, the Titans expansion, versus the default one. So the default of Age of Mythology, the default campaign, yeah, it can be tricky. You can face hordes of units and all that, but it's fairly manageable, really, on Titan difficulty for the most part. Some exceptions here and there, but for the most part, it is a fairly manageable affair. This one on hard, as well as the Age of Mythology, the Titans on Titan difficulty, involves a whole truckload of bullshit. It should not be. This is my opinion on the issue. It should not be that the player has to abuse castles against the stupidity of the AI, because no human player would do this. Let's be clear, no human player would just send hordes of units against that fortified castle without the intent of bringing it down. The AI will, and you can abuse it quite easily. Now that makes Age of Empires 2 a piece of crap in terms of anything related to AI. And instead of trying to do something different, the developers of this game, of the definitive editions, like, how do we make this more challenging? Well, our AI is a piece of shit that we can't fix and we don't try. And by the way, this applies to the extreme AI as well in Skirmish. Of course, against the extreme AI is competent in building an economy, and the reason it's capable of providing a challenge against the player is it's got its build orders put forward. It's got a good handle on the economy, and very crucially, it's fighting with the same resources you want. So, and it probably has better macro than you do. It's very aggressive in terms of base building. So that's somewhat okay, if a bit frustrating, just the nonsense the AI gets to. But then you get this bullshit. It's like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna build a wonder. Purple will build 2 even. What the fuck? And then Orange will just have a full fucking population army of paladins and crossbowmen and throwing axemen and trebuchets. It is bloody fucking mental. Now, some people might like that, but look at what I had to deal with. I had to build castles near red so I could draw red's army and then destroy it. Then I had to build a trio of castles against fucking orange to draw his units out, because you can't win in a regular way because you don't have the resources to keep up with their spam, and you're also time limited in many ways, right? And mind you, I still have gold workers over here. I had the constant set of resources. My economy, yeah, sure, you know, I didn't rebuild my lumber camps when the wood ran out, but my economy's been chugging along quite well. I handled things. And what I get rewarded with is a bullshit full stack of units. Seriously, I sincerely hope seriously, my issue isn't with this game. Let's face it, it's a piece of crap at the end of the day. The campaigns have not aged well. Unlike, say, Warcraft 3, or Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Red Alert 2. For all the issues that you can think of those games with their age, they are far more interesting to play and far more enjoyable to play than this. And what did let's throw hordes of units, because that worked in Age of Mythology. Abso-fucking-lutely. And as for Age of Empires 3, same bullshit. It's like, oh, hordes of units, that's the only way to keep the player in entertainment. Seriously, has none of these developers paid any fucking attention to what StarCraft 2's done? Because it did throw hordes of units at the player when it expected the player to be able to handle that. Therein lies the difference. StarCraft 2, sure, hordes of units, but you could handle it. You didn't need to go through this kind of crap to deal with it. Anyway, let's finish this mission.
Attila, might I have a word with you in private, please?
I just want to make a historical note. Yes, Attila did meet with Pope Leo Pope Leo the First outside of Rome. Though Rome wasn't the capital of the Western Roman Empire, we have the amphitheater, the Colosseum over here. We have the Arch of Constantine, and we have a whole bunch of elite cataphracts. Now, no one knows what Pope Leo and Attila discussed. No one knows the exact words, but we do know Attila did turn back when he could have taken probably all of Italy, really. You know, some say that he turned back because he didn't have the resources to continue the campaign. It's tricky, right? But no one really knows exactly what went down. All that we really know for certain is Attila met with the Pope and then withdrew. So, and thus the rest of Italy was spared. As for Aquila, well, the game does does touch on that. Basically, Attila created Venice. The real legacy of Attila the Hun, if we must talk about it, Venice is the legacy of Attila the Hun.
The city of Aquileia at the tip of the Adriatic was wiped off the face of the earth. The fugitives from that pitiful city took refuge among the islands, marshes and lagoons at the head of the Adriatic Sea, and there founded the town of Venetia, or Venice. But what of the Pope? I asked. No one knows what Saint Leo said to the Hunnic king, but that very day, Attila turned his army around and started back for the Hun lands on the Danube. Attila the Hun died shortly thereafter. Since he had failed to claim Rome, he could not have Honoria, and instead brought another wife into his harem. On his wedding night, Attila suffered a nosebleed and choked to death. For a man who had boasted that, "Where my horse has trodden, no grass grows," it was a curiously anticlimactic death. The Hunnic warriors cut their hair and gashed their faces, so that the king should be lamented not by tears of maidens, but by the blood of warriors. Attila's bloody reign of conquest lasted 19 long years. Father Armand was silent for a long time. He glanced over at the head on a stake. "A Hunnic trophy," he said. "I think the man was a Visigoth. He died at the Battle of the Catalonian Fields. I keep it here so that I may see it every day and remember." "Remember what, Father?" I asked him. The scent of a burning village, the sound of butchery, the way peasants would flee before the Hun riders, the way we would ride them down, the way it felt to conquer alongside Attila and the Huns. He leaned so close I could feel his breath. Sometimes, I miss it.
I feel the original cinematic there was more impactful in the default version of the game. Some of the voice acting, some of that is really lost. Some of the magic, if you will. And I played this campaign recently in the default game, so I kind of have a good idea of exactly how it felt. So that was the fall of Rome, the final mission of Attila the Hun campaign. Now, you don't really feel like a great conqueror in all of this. You just feel like you're dealing with a whole zerg of units, even though the Huns did outnumber their opponents in many of the wars they fought. Even though everyone is fleeing in terror, you don't really feel like that. It's a contrast to, say, the Kotian Khan campaign, where it's like, yes, you're playing as the Cumans, and yes, you're fighting the Mongols, and it does feel like that. I'm not saying the mission design of this particular missions is superb. It's not. There are many things that they could improve with respect to that. The second mission frustrating, the third mission frustrating, the fourth mission just drags on and on and on. The fifth one, actually, the fifth one is pretty okay. The first one and the fifth one are pretty okay, but I just feel when it comes to it, like, as the Cumans, you really feel that you're dealing with this unstoppable horde of Mongols. You really feel that the Mongol horde, so to speak, is well represented in that. Hell, if I want to go further, Tamerlane's campaign versus Genghis Khan's campaign. Tamerlane, Timur, the Timurid Empire, this horde of barbarians that butcher people in their path. That's done well. The Genghis Khan campaign, not so much. And I just feel that instead of redesigning the campaigns and improving them, they just embrace the crappiness. They embrace the idea, it's like, oh, this is frustrating. Taking China, frustrating. Hordes upon hordes of enemies, layers upon layers of defenses. And you have to systematically break them down. And that's the problem. You don't really feel as a barbarian horde that's unstoppable. You don't really feel as an army that's, that's going to keep on going. Even like the Jean of Arc campaign, like the first three missions, yeah, okay, relatively fine. But the problem is, it's like, this entire game, let me stretch it down to what's the problem here. The entire fucking game, every mission, every campaign, where you can do it, basically boils down to, can you build a castle? Check. Great. That's what you're gonna do every fucking time, because it's the most optimal way of doing it. And good luck winning if you can. Sure, I'm not saying it's not possible to win if you don't build a castle, but because the way the AI works, because the number of units, because of the limited resources that you have versus the AI, which doesn't give a crap about that, that's what you're gonna do. And you're gonna rely on the fact that the AI is dumb as bricks, and you're gonna lure them into your well-prepared defenses into a choke point. I learned this in Age of Mythology, the Titans. When I was trying to beat the Titan difficulty, okay, there's too many units. I don't have the economic power to, build enough units to take them on head on. What do I do? Oh, do I build walls? No, that's not gonna work. They're gonna tear them down. Oh, right. I can abuse the fuck out of the gameplay and just basically build walls and only leave like a narrow choke point that they can go through, where my ranged units, my towers, my heroes, and my melee units one at a time, they'll win. That's how I beat Age of Mythology, the Titans on Titan difficulty. It's the same logic that I applied to beat the campaigns that I've beaten here in Age of Empires 2, both the default version and the definitive edition. It is not fucking fun. Let me stress this point out. It is not fun to do so on any freaking level. And that's, I feel, something the developers should learn. They didn't learn. And, for some people, maybe they're glad to have former employees from Ensemble Studios, but you know what? I really do see the impact. I do see the shit legacy of Ensemble Studios. As well as the good, I suppose. There is good, don't get me wrong. But if they got people from Ensemble Studios, they clearly have not learned a bloody fucking thing since Age of Mythology. Or Age of Empires 2, or Age of Empires 3. Costin here, signing off. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more. I don't know if I'm gonna play more of this. I really don't want to, because the campaigns here, Barbarossa, El Cid, they're exactly like that. Exactly what I just fucking described. Then you look at the other campaigns that are available, the Americas, Africa, and all that. Saladin, very much like that. The others, there is some variety. There is some interesting stuff in the Forgotten campaigns, in the expansion campaigns, but the default ones, not so much. And this is the frustration ultimately for me. No game covers, this kind of time period in the way that they do. The closest you get is Total War, and Total War is even worse than this. Don't get me started on Total War. Total War is just boring. It's even more boring. It's like, how can you take something so interesting, such a time period, and make it fucking boring? I don't know. Well, they succeeded. Because they make it so in terms of difficulty that it ends up in a situation where you as a player really only have one viable path to win, and you can't really deviate from it because you're just facing too many enemies. You're just facing too many forces. Or you might have multiple paths, but all of them are frustrating and boring. It's like, okay, you might ask, why don't you play on a lower difficulty? Because you'll just smash through every enemy in your path without any real resistance. That's the problem with lower difficulties in all of those games. And mind you, a lower difficulty doesn't solve these issues. Those issues still exist, even if in a reduced form. Anyway, that's all I had to say on this.